Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across Texas today. Actually, Texas, Oklahoma, portions of New Mexico, portions of Missouri, and Arkansas are all included in that hail risk today. That hail risk actually spans over 200,000 square miles, encompassing about 15 million people. For storms today, or potential storms today. So we'll talk about that and all of the risks that come with that. We have several rounds of rain, not just one round of rain here. That will cause flash flooding as we head into the next 24 to 48 hours. And then we're also watching for that tornado and high wind risk as well. We're also going to go ahead and get into next week, that Thanksgiving weather outlook. Well, right before Thanksgiving, it looks like we should have a round of storms. Where will that be? We'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But we've been doing this thing where we get right into the hail forecast. We're going to show you the significant hail model for today, highlighted there in yellow. We're going to talk about current conditions, then we're going to go back to the severe weather risk and really break it down hour by hour. So let's go ahead and take a look at the significant hail model today. These areas highlighted in yellow usually signify up to about quarter size hail. If you can get some of those oranges in there, then you're really cooking. You're up to ping pong, maybe golf ball size hail. If we can get those deep oranges, almost like a red, you could absolutely get larger hailstones up to 2 inches in size. And we are starting to see that today. There's little pockets of these absolutely larger potential areas for hail. That mainly down by the San Angelo area. Lubbock, Texas could also get into the action later on tonight, and so could Oklahoma and places like Dallas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, all the way as far north as Joplin, Missouri. So we're going to keep an eye on this significant hail potential for today, along with the other potentials like high wind and the potential tornadoes. We have another risk for hail anywhere from Dallas all the way to Texarkana for tomorrow as well. So we'll get into that. Right now, what we're watching for is just a few light showers across Kansas. We've got a few showers out in Arizona as well. So maybe some snow up in northern Minnesota. We've got a boundary that's just sitting anywhere from the Carolinas all the way across into the plains today, and that's going to help to spark some of those storms later on this afternoon. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the significant risks with this. Yesterday, we did see some hail across the southeastern portion of Missouri. We nailed this forecast yesterday where we said southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana. That's where you're going to see those hail threats for yesterday, and we did a pretty good job with that because that's exactly where we got the hail sizes. I do want to note, I know it looks like a lot of hail reports here. It is. While it's a lot of hail reports, that was pretty small hail in this area. It was right around quarter to maybe smaller than quarter size hail. I think the larger hailstones fell down farther to the southern portion of Illinois and southeastern Missouri. So that's what we saw yesterday. Oh, and yesterday, we also saw a 1-inch size hail report in Arizona. Just kind of a random blow-up storm in that area. We didn't expect that. That's one thing that we didn't expect. Let's go to today. So let's do the hour by hour, hazard by hazard breakdown for today. You can see that this risk includes Oklahoma City all the way to Tulsa, Joplin, down into Texarkana, Dallas also included in that risk. Most of western Texas, including Lubbock, Texas, also included in the severe weather risk today. It's a level 1 risk. I see that. However, it's going to be a very widespread risk covering about 200,000 square miles here. For tomorrow, we have another chance for storms, another marginal risk here. What we're going to see is storms continuing through the morning hours and then redeveloping into some stronger storms through the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow. So there's your risk for tomorrow. Let's go ahead and break it down for you. We showed this earlier, but for all of those who are hopping back on or maybe missed the very beginning of the show, what we're watching for here from your significant hail model are those deeper colors into the deeper oranges, maybe even some reds. Where are we seeing that at? Mainly down in San Angelo for the best chance for large hail. This is going to be a later system. This will not just be an afternoon event. This will also go into the overnight hours. Look at this significant hail model, still pretty impressive all the way until 10, 11, 12, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. into Oklahoma, 2 a.m. into Dallas. Okay, that's decent yellow, maybe a little bit of orange in there. I would say at least half dollar size, maybe up to ping pong ball size hail in Dallas today. This continues all the way through your early morning commute tomorrow morning, and then finally giving us a break as the sun comes up tomorrow. One more time to play that through here, just in case anyone missed it earlier. We'll play this through very quickly, and then we'll go into your hail risk, your tornado risk, and that high wind risk for today. Let's go right into that here. Okay, so I told you near San Angelo, that's where you're seeing the largest hail. So I've upgraded this risk to anywhere between golf ball to 2-inch size hail in this area. Other places like Lubbock, Texas, up to golf ball size hail. Just outside of San Antonio, also up to golf ball size hail. Oklahoma City, golf ball size hail here. And Tulsa, also up to golf ball size hail. Now, some places are more likely to get hail than others. Lubbock, Texas, probably pretty low chance to get that large hail. Oklahoma City and Tulsa as well, pretty low chance. I think that the better chances that we're going to see for large hail will be anywhere from Midland to San Angelo, right in this area. As these storms continue to track to the east through the overnight hours, they're going to turn into more of a wind event, especially in places like Dallas. And you guys kind of know the drill here. Anytime that we have high wind, usually that hail risk goes down and vice versa. It's very rare that we get high wind and large hail at the same time. San Antonio, I have a pretty low chance for San Antonio to get hail. However, I would go ahead and encompass all of San Antonio in this low risk here in that 1-inch to $half size hail. Oklahoma City, low risk. Tulsa as well. What you're going to see is a lot of rain in these areas, however, very isolated, strong to severe storms. That will happen maybe in one of these cities, but probably not in all of them. However, I do think that at least one person tonight is going to get that larger hail. I set up to 2 inches in size, but you guys know the drill here. Everything's bigger in Texas. Texas is one of those states that will often surprise us about how large their hail can get. I said 2 inches because I think that after looking at the weather models, that's what I expect. But the trend is your friend, right? We look back at the same setup that happened a few months ago. You got larger hail than 2 inches. So it could get larger than that. I'm going with 2 inches today. That's what I'm going with. Let's move on here. Let's go ahead and go to the tornado risk today. Ashton is tagging Adam Dale. Man, Adam Dale has got to get so many notifications about our weather forecasts. We see him tagged all the time. Tag your friends, make sure that they're aware of this risk. This is your tornado risk. Your level 1 on a scale of 5. Abilene, Texas, San Angelo, Kerrville, and Del Rio, all included in this tornado risk here. This does not mean, even though you're going to look at the radar in a minute, and you're going to see that there's so many storms on the radar. There's a lot of storms. It is not going to be a severe weather outbreak where we see 17 tornadoes. That is not what's going to happen here. We're expecting isolated tornadoes, isolated spin-up tornadoes, most likely as we head into the afternoon and overnight hours. Strong wind, more widespread across Texas as well. We did highlight Dallas for one of those areas that could expect some strong wind in here as well. So especially through the early morning hours, you may wake up around 4 o'clock tomorrow morning in Dallas hearing those strong winds outside of your window. But let's talk about timeline here. Here we are at noon, maybe a few showers out there, nothing severe. Now by 2 o'clock this afternoon, that's when I want you to be weather aware. Highway 37, it looks like we've got 1 supercell going up. All right, we've got 1, we've got 2, maybe 3 supercells as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Things really start to become a lot more widespread, however, as we head into the overnight hours. 7:30, 8:30, we've got more storms that are coming into Oklahoma. We've got storms that are hugging the border down here. We've got widespread rain across New Mexico as well. As we continue to get into the early morning hours on Thursday, it really becomes more widespread across both Oklahoma and Texas. A lot of heavy rain coming from this, and I also think that we still have our hail risk through the overnight hours, but as the sun comes up tomorrow morning, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, that's whenever we finally see that hail risk go down and the wind risk go up. As you wake up tomorrow morning, it will most likely be raining across Dallas, so that could absolutely slow your morning commute. You do have a chance for flooding tomorrow morning in Dallas. We'll get into the flooding risk here in a few minutes. I want to go up to Oklahoma first. Let's focus on the Oklahoma and Missouri storms here. Oklahoma City, you guys stay dry. Actually, all of Oklahoma should stay dry for most of today. Southern Oklahoma, you're finally getting more storms by the later evening hours after the sun has already gone down, but you're really going to hear that thunder and see the lightning outside of your window as we head into the early morning hours on Thursday. Could this wake you up? Very similar to Dallas? Yeah. I think that we could absolutely see some strong storms through the overnight hours. Again, we have a chance for one, maybe two of those storms to produce that larger hail. For the most part, though, most of these storms will be non-severe. Not all of these are going severe, but maybe a few of them could. Storms really hug I-44 here as we head into the early morning hours. So if you have any plans to hit the highway early tomorrow morning, you're probably going to be driving in pretty heavy downpours. We've got a lot of rain coming from this system, not only tomorrow, not only tonight, but also through the day tomorrow. Check this out. Here we are, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's still raining at 10. It's still raining at noon. It's still raining, especially in the northern portions of Oklahoma, all the way into Wichita, Joplin, Missouri, all the way down into portions of Texas as we head into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow. I-35 getting another soaking by tomorrow evening during your evening commute. Let's go down to Texas now. Dallas to Texarkana, you do have a tornado risk tomorrow. So some of these storms that you see in the afternoon and evening could produce that tornado risk. Keep an eye on that morning convection as well. So you've got two rounds of storms here, one that's left over from the overnight hours and then the other that is redeveloping in the afternoon. John, I missed that question. What did it say? I need some in Texas. All right, are you looking for rain in Texas? Are you looking for hail? High wind? I assume rain. You probably need some rain in Texas. Well, here's the good news. You're going to get a lot of rain over the next few days. Here's the bad news. Sometimes you get too much of a good thing and it becomes a bad thing. So we're going to talk about that flooding risk here in just a minute. I do want to get through this timeline. I-35, as we mentioned earlier, getting a soaking right around your evening commute into sundown. Eventually, these storms will move past I-35 and again creating that severe risk anywhere from Dallas all the way to Texarkana. So there's your storm risk over the next 48 hours. I know that was a lot to talk about. Here's your hail forecast north of San Antonio and to Fort Smith. We have a low risk for some small hail tomorrow. I would go up to ping pong ball size hail. Max hail size for storms on Thursday, ping pong ball size hail. Here's your tornado forecast for tomorrow as well. I know that the headline says Wednesday, it should say Thursday, so just verbalizing that there. Thursday tornado risk. Dallas to Fort Smith, we have a level 1 tornado risk. Alrighty, moving on here, I want to go ahead and pull in meteorologist Michaela Smith. Michaela is going to talk about the flooding risk that we have over the next 48 hours. Because in addition to that tornado, high wind, and hail risk, several rounds of rain means a lot of moisture out there. So Michaela, what can people expect as they hit the roads on Thursday? I mean, it's not just the morning commute, it's the evening commute as well.
Yeah, people just need to be prepared to pack their patience. That's what I always like to say when we have really stormy days, especially when it might impact those commutes. Just pack your patience, because those car rides, they might be, talking about bumper to bumper traffic, just heavy downpours. You want to give yourself extra time too. If you normally, takes 20 minutes to get to work, go ahead and give yourself 30, 35, again, for the possibility of traffic. But also if it's raining that hard, you don't want to be going the speed limit. Like, you need to slow down.
No, and a lot of people may have to reroute their normal route to work. They may have to go around some flooded roadways. Those intersections could be an issue. So we're hoping for the best, but obviously we have to prepare for the worst. So let us see it. What's the risk as we head into tomorrow?
Yeah, so we're talking about multiple days still that we're going to be seeing some heavy rainfall. We'll start with today's flood risk. You can see areas out towards the west and parts of New Mexico and Arizona going to have that level 1 flood risk, but really our eyes are more concerned in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, especially down here in Texas Hill Country. I always want to highlight that area just because it is an area that is very prone to seeing flash flooding. It doesn't take much rainfall in those areas to cause flash flooding, and they have that level 2 risk for today. So scattered flash flooding is going to be possible today in parts of Texas. Then tomorrow we extend this risk even further. Kind of looks like a little tornado if you look maybe if you squint. A lot of stuff green, so all the way through Oklahoma into parts of, you can see Kansas, Missouri, back into areas that saw a lot of rainfall yesterday. Going to be seeing more of that rain too, which is why that's going to be another area potentially seeing flooding. And then once again, we have another area highlighted in yellow. That's that level 2 risk. So eastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, southern parts of Missouri, and down through areas like Dallas, you're going to be seeing this. And then back into the Texas Hill Country. Once again, there's that level 2 risk for the potential for flash flooding tomorrow. Then we still have a risk for flash flooding on Friday, but that storm system that's really giving us our storm chances today and tomorrow, like Taylor's been breaking down for you, will start to move away. So by Friday, we're back to only a level 1 risk. You can see that's going to include parts of Indiana, Ohio, so really it's the Ohio Valley into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. And then once you get to the weekend, not a risk right now for Saturday or a risk for Sunday. So at least that is good news. Future rainfall totals, I just want to highlight a few areas, especially like Dallas. You can see after we get multiple rounds of rain, so we have the rounds tonight that Taylor was showing you, then you have the overnight rain going into tomorrow morning, secondary round of rain that we're going to have that highlighted risk for the hail potential and the flood potential, but also tornadoes tomorrow. That's really going to trail over areas like Dallas. So Dallas, lots of people there. Commuting can become a problem just on a normal day. Add in all that rainfall, add in the potential for flash flooding, why we're looking closely at Dallas. But again, I really want to pinpoint parts of the Texas Hill Country. This is showing anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. In these areas, it does not take much rain to start to see that flooding because how the ground is, it's not really able to absorb moisture because it's so rocky in some of those terrains. So that's why we're watching this closely. Hayden says, will we be getting hail in northwest Arkansas? It's a possibility. I think Taylor was showing that a little bit earlier on too. I don't think the hail risk is maybe as high as other places like we were talking about. Areas today, you know, really focused down here like San Angelo. That's where the larger hail concern is for today. You could get some maybe small hail tonight, I would say would be the better chance. It'd be overnight tonight, and tomorrow morning would be northwest Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, and central Oklahoma. But again, here's looking at the future rainfall total. So you can see quite a bit of rain still to come. This is going through 7 a.m. on Friday. Then you get into Friday night, and you're really just seeing some of these areas highlighted. This isn't putting as much rain in Oklahoma right now, but I do think in some of these heavier downpours, we could be talking about quite a bit of rainfall in a short amount of time. Areas like Oklahoma City really need to see this rain. They have not had any recorded rainfall besides a trace amount on the 1st. So normal rainfall is about a little over an inch for November. We're below average right now, and a lot of the U.S. is actually dealing with the drought. Here's that updated drought monitor. You can see over 40%, it's right around 40% of the U.S. has some type of drought condition, so that's going to be somewhere from moderate all the way to exceptional. But then it's near about 65% of the U.S. has at least abnormally dry conditions, which is not technically the first tier of drought. It's right before you go into those drought conditions, but that's areas highlighted in yellow. So we really could use some moisture across quite a bit of the U.S. right now. Chip said, how about Middle Tennessee? What is the hail situation looking like there? Hey, good news for you, Chip, is at least today, I don't think the hail concern is as much. Like Taylor was talking about, you guys had some chances for hail yesterday. Kind of missed out on a lot of that. But the risk area really is not as significant for hail today into tomorrow. That risk is really focusing on Texas and especially Oklahoma tonight to tomorrow morning. And then again in Texas tomorrow, areas like Dallas, you really kind of have to watch both of these storm systems today and then again tomorrow. Dallas is really going to be an area to kind of pinpoint and watch for that hail concern. So at least the next 2 days, I'm not really overly worried about Middle Tennessee. If you're hoping for hail, maybe you're going to hope a little bit longer. We do have more storm systems coming next week though. Taylor and I are going to talk about that here in just a minute. Here's the 5-day rain chances. You can see really where this pinpoints. Again, areas like Dallas is why I wanted to highlight that just because with so many people there, that's showing 3 to 5 inches of rain potentially over the next 5 days. Here's this first round. Heavy rain is moving into the plains today. We get the flash flooding concerns going into tomorrow, like Taylor mentioned. Morning and afternoon commute could be very wet. Rain starts to push more east, so by Friday could start to see maybe some more rainfall areas, like I said, the Ohio Valley. Saturday, getting more rain for the East Coast, so some weekend showers. And by Sunday, that's when our next storm system is going to start to move in, so back towards the West Coast, parts of New Mexico and Arizona, and that's going to bring more rain chances back to our area. So I'm going to bring Taylor back in so we can kind of look ahead at some of this rainfall that we're getting, because we're obviously focusing on, today, tomorrow, somewhat into Friday's risk. But then people are going to make plans next week because it's, Thanksgiving. People want to start traveling. Some people take off the whole week and they're kind of looking at what the forecast is going to look like. And it could be stormy.
It could, absolutely. We stay in this active weather pattern, this rainy pattern, all the way through the end of next week. So we could see another round for storms Sunday and Monday. We could see another round after that. So we'll take a look at the country as a whole, and then we'll go right into those areas that we're expecting storms. But Michaela, we appreciate that you're here breaking down that flood risk. That's a very important thing as everyone hits the roads tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna be busy.
Yeah, storms tonight, flooding early tomorrow morning, flooding tomorrow afternoon as well. So we appreciate that information. Let's go ahead and talk about into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. What's going on as we lead up to Thanksgiving? Well, I think that we're gonna see, obviously, let me go forward here. There's Wednesday, there's Thursday, there's Friday. Okay, so I think that we're going to see some drier conditions on Friday for the plains. You go farther out to the east into places like the Midwest and the East Coast, that rain will transfer out to the East Coast by Friday and Saturday. Could be a bit of a rainy weekend for those across the Midwest and the East Coast. But for the plains, we're pretty quiet this weekend. Things start to change, however, as we have a low pressure system setting up out west. That will move closer to the plains as we head into late Sunday and early Monday. Now, let me tell you something about this low pressure system. Let me actually just show it to you right here. Maybe. How about I show it to you? Hey, Michaela, will you pull up that synoptic view? Maybe at the very beginning of my show. So what I'll show you here is that this low pressure system looks different than the others that we've seen. So we've seen several chances for storms over the last 5 days. Those low pressure systems have not been terribly impressive. However, we've got one off the west coast right now that does look a lot more impressive as we head into the very beginning of next week. So we're talking about Sunday and Monday here. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Michaela. All right, so here's what we're watching for. We've got one low pressure system right now. It's going to split off basically into 2 different systems as we head into the end of this week. That's going to keep maybe some snow up in the northern portion of the U.S. It's going to keep some cooler temperatures down in the southern portion of the U.S., so temperatures will cool down across Kansas and Oklahoma. And then that's going to keep us very rainy across the East Coast this weekend. Look back out to the west. Okay, this looks a lot more impressive. We've got a decent dip in the jet stream right here, a closed low that's going to continue to track to the east, and it stays pretty impressive, or more impressive than what we've seen over the last few days, as it heads over the mountains and into the plains. Now, this is what I think will impact your Sunday and Monday. Where are we expecting that? Well, where does that warm, moist air that's coming up from the Gulf meet this cooler air with that low pressure system? That meets up right in Texas and into Oklahoma. Sunday and Monday, Texas and Oklahoma, I want you to watch for storms. Let's go ahead and continue this track as it continues to move up the plains into places like Kansas and Missouri. Once again, we're watching for maybe Arkansas, southeastern side of Missouri, southern Illinois, as we head into Monday and Tuesday. This continues and then really starts to weaken as it heads into the Midwest by Tuesday and Wednesday, so I'm not terribly concerned about the severe weather threat by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Actually, as you look ahead into Thursday's conditions right now, it does look like we may have a pretty nice Thanksgiving. Okay, Michaela, will you head to the end of my show now? Thank you, I appreciate you helping me out there. Any last weather questions before we talk about temperatures into next week? Steven says, let's hope those storms don't fizzle out like the one coming down from Singer into Denton, Texas. I don't remember that specific one, but that happens, right? Storms seem to either hit right in the middle of the city or they fizzle out before they hit the city. I don't know, storms don't know the boundaries of states and cities and everything. So, it's not like they're making that choice, but it feels like that happens sometimes, right? We say that about snow, too. We're like, snow never crosses I-35, but the weather doesn't know that. It doesn't know not to cross I-35. It's just kind of a funny pattern that humans make up. All right, let's go ahead and let's talk about current conditions. Here we go. We do have that boundary that's sitting across the Carolinas all the way down into Oklahoma right now. That's going to help to spark some storms later on this afternoon and evening. Moving ahead to those temperatures today, a little bit above average for this time of year. We're sitting about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than what we normally would across the entire southern portion of the U.S. The Midwest, a little bit cooler. This will change as we head into the weekend. I told you about that low that's coming into the plains this weekend, cooling us down a little bit, not too much. We won't stay that cold for long. It's just going to kind of be a dip in our temperatures, and then we'll warm right back up as we head into the end of the weekend and early next week. However, things start to change as that rain comes in Sunday and Monday, so we may cool down just a little bit there. Overall, though, temperatures look either seasonable or a bit warmer than average for this time of the year. That warm trend, which I feel like we have been talking about for almost a month or two now, it's going to continue all the way through Thanksgiving. Here we go, the 24th through the 28th. This is your Thanksgiving week outlook right here. It does look like temperatures will stay above average for most of the U.S., specifically the plains, all the way to the East Coast, about average all the way back to the West. In terms of rainfall, what I think that this is picking up on right here is another chance for rain that's going to target central Oklahoma and the northern portion of Texas. So we could see above average rainfall. I don't love that. I'll go back to this map here so you can see it. I don't love that because we're getting so much rain right now. If we get another round of rain and another round of rain, it's just going to increase your flash flood chances, make them a little bit more sensitive. And so we may see those flash flood chances continuing all the way into next week. That's absolutely possible. But there's your forecast. Thanks for joining us today. As always, put your weather questions and comments in the comments section. We're usually pretty good about getting back to those on Facebook after the forecast is over. So if you have anything that you want us to clarify, we can absolutely do that on Facebook. We're also going to be posting more about the severe weather outlook as we head into the next 24 hours. So follow us on all forms of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And stay prepared ahead of the storm. Get your subscription today for HailTrace for hail, wind, and tornado maps. Give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com for more weather information. Head over to our website, hailtrace.com, for more weather information. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place for your forecast tomorrow.